You think you're being loving. You think you're being loyal. You think you're being a good human being. But strip away the comforting language, and what you're really doing is slowly dismantling your own life. What you call love is often self-destruction with better branding. What you call loyalty is usually fear of walking away. What you call kindness is frequently just an inability to tolerate guilt. Reality doesn't care about your intentions. It only cares about outcomes. And the outcome of this pattern is always the same. You end up depleted, bitter, exhausted, wondering why the people you sacrificed for never changed. There is a truth about human nature that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. A truth that society labels as too harsh, too cold, or too Machiavellian. But 5 centuries ago, Niccolo Machiavelli observed it clearly, without sentimentality, without moral decoration. The truth is simple. Not everyone can be saved. And even more uncomfortable, not everyone wants to be saved. Some people are not drowning by accident. They are drowning by design. And when you extend your hand, they don't grab it to climb out. They grab your wrist to pull you under. They don't want rescue. They want company in their collapse. You already know who they are. The friend who is always in crisis. The partner who drains you but demands endless understanding. The relative who consumes your time, money, and emotional energy and repays you with entitlement or resentment. You keep telling yourself, if I just show up more, if I just love harder, if I sacrifice a little longer. But sacrifice does not transform character. It only exposes it. Machiavelli warned that a man who tries to be virtuous at all times in a world that is not will be destroyed by those who are willing to exploit virtue. Compassion without limits is not morality. It is vulnerability masquerading as goodness. And vulnerability, when unguarded, attracts predators, parasites, and people who have no intention of changing. Today is not about cruelty. It's about survival. Because if you continue bleeding for people who refuse to heal themselves, you will eventually become hollow, unable to help anyone, including yourself. This is the moment where comfort must give way to clarity. Once you see this, you cannot unsee it. Before we identify who you must stop trying to save, you need to understand why you do it. Why do you rush into burning buildings when the person inside struck the match? Because you were conditioned to believe your worth is tied to usefulness. You learned, explicitly or silently, that being good means enduring pain quietly. That saying no makes you selfish. That boundaries equal betrayal. Machiavelli would call this strategic suicide. Your resources are finite. Your energy is finite. Your attention is finite. Your time is irreplaceable. When you pour these into someone who treats life like a black hole, you're not being noble, you're financing your own future collapse. Imagine a ship at sea. Limited food, limited space, limited capacity. If you allow everyone on board, the reckless, the unstable, the destructive, the ship doesn't become compassionate, it sinks. And when it sinks, everyone dies, including the innocent. Leadership, whether of a kingdom or a life, requires discrimination. This is what can be called therapeutic darkness. The understanding that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step back and allow reality to teach the lesson you keep interrupting. When you rescue someone repeatedly, you steal their consequences. And without consequences, growth never happens. Typonitarki of chaos. The first archetype is subtle and often the most dangerous. This is the person followed by endless misfortune. Job after job collapses. Relationships implode. Emergencies never stop. At first, your heart opens. How can one person suffer this much? You think. So you help, you lend money, you make introductions, you offer advice. And briefly, things stabilize. Then it happens again. The job you helped them get. The boss was against me. The money you lent. Another emergency came up. Listen carefully. This is not bad luck. This is bad judgment combined with zero accountability. These people make impulsive decisions, ignore warning signs, provoke conflict, refuse self-reflection, and then label the fallout as fate. Chaos becomes their identity. And chaos spreads, not mystically, practically. Machiavelli understood that fortunes are connected. When you tether your life to someone addicted to instability, physics takes over. You go down with them. I have watched intelligent, disciplined people lose reputations, finances, and peace trying to stabilize someone who subconsciously needs destruction to feel alive. Chaos gives them attention. Chaos absolves them of responsibility. If they are always victims, they never have to become competent. Stop being their shelter. Step away. Let the storm hit them. Cold is instructive. Discomfort teaches. If you keep shielding them, you are not saving them. You are training them to remain incompetent. Distance is not cruelty here. It is containment. Chaos is contagious. Quarantine is necessary. TYPETWOTEDOETMESPAT. This one hurts the most because you don't see it at first. The first time you help them, they're grateful, emotional, relieved. You feel needed, valued. That's the hook. The second time the gratitude fades. The third time it disappears. Soon, help is no longer requested, it's expected. Delay once and irritation appears. Set a boundary and guilt follows. I thought you cared. Friends don't act like this. This person does not experience gratitude. They experience entitlement. They don't see your generosity as a gift. They see it as a debt. And here is the dark truth Machiavelli understood. Dependence breeds resentment. They hate you quietly because your strength highlights their weakness. Your support reminds them that they cannot stand alone, so they consume and judge, take and criticize. This is why the people you help the most often speak the worst of you behind your back. Test them once. Say no to a small request. A healthy person respects the boundary. The bottomless pit reacts with anger, manipulation, or cold withdrawal. That reaction is your warning. You cannot fill a void that was never about resources, only character. Walk away. No speeches, no explanations. Some wells have no bottom. Names are surfacing. Faces you avoided thinking about. Relationships you kept alive out of guilt rather than respect. That internal resistance isn't morality. It's fear. Fear of being judged. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of becoming the bad one. But survival does not require permission. Let's continue. TYPE tar ETH smelige Saboteur. This one is dangerous because it wears a friendly face. The first two drain you through neediness or entitlement. This one drains you through envy. They are usually close to you. A long-time friend. A peer who started at the same level. Someone who knows your history. At some point you changed, you grew, you moved forward. They didn't. And that gap became unbearable for them. But envy rarely attacks openly. Open enemies are obvious. They announce themselves. This one hides behind concern. You share good news. They smile, but not with their eyes. That's great, but aren't the hours brutal? I'm happy for you, just don't get your hopes too high. I'm just worried about you. Listen carefully. That's not care, that's fear disguised as protection. They aren't trying to save you from harm. They're trying to save themselves from comparison. Your progress reflects their stagnation. Your ambition threatens their comfort. So they plant doubt, quietly, repeatedly. They don't want you to fail loudly. They want you to hesitate. If you try to pull them up with you, they will sabotage the climb. They'll create drama before your important moments. Offer advice that subtly undermines you. Leak your plans to people who don't wish you well. You cannot heal envy with reassurance. Envy is not insecurity alone, it is hostility toward your potential. Centuries ago, Niccolo Machiavelli warned that envy destroys courts, alliances, and empires from the inside because it smiles while it works. The solution is concealment. Stop sharing victories. Stop explaining plans. Stop offering access to your inner world. When they ask how things are going, Respond vaguely. It's busy, still grinding. Same old. Let them grow bored. Save your joy for people who clap without calculation. You cannot save someone who needs you to stay small. TYPE for URD, TH Parvasi Onal VCTM. Now we enter more deceptive territory. This one does not attack, they collapse. They don't demand power, they demand pity. They arrive wounded, fragile, overwhelmed, and your instincts activate. You want to help, to protect, to carry. But understand this distinction. There are people who suffer, and there are people who perform suffering. A true victim wants relief. A professional victim wants an audience. Their pain is their identity. I can't because I'm traumatized. You're hurting me by expecting responsibility. The world is too harsh for someone like me. Any suggestion of growth feels like violence to them. Why? Because healing would cost them attention. If they recover, they lose leverage. If they improve, they lose sympathy. If they stand up, they lose the excuse. So they resist solutions. You offer a ladder, they say they're too tired. You offer a rope, they say it hurts. You reach down, they go limp, forcing you to carry dead weight. Every rescue teaches them one thing: being broken pays. And when you finally collapse from exhaustion and say, I can't do this anymore, they transform. The fragile lamb becomes a furious wolf. They rewrite history. You're cruel now. You abandon them. They need you to be the villain, because without one, their story collapses. Compassion here is not love. It's self-betrayal. You must walk away without defending yourself. Let silence end the performance. When the audience leaves, the act stops. TYPEFEVTA arrogant 4L. This type destroys your sanity if you stay too long. This isn't ignorance. Ignorance can be cured. This is arrogance, the refusal to learn. They repeat the same mistakes, same partners, same schemes, same disasters. You see the pattern clearly. You warn them, you explain, you provide data. They argue, they debate, they dismiss. They twist logic into knots to protect their ego. Here's the lesson that saves years of life. You cannot reason someone out of a position they did not reason themselves into. Truth threatens their identity, so they attack the messenger. They call you arrogant, negative, condescending. They drag you into endless circular arguments that leave you drained. And when they finally fall, because they always do, they learn nothing. It's the system. Bad timing, someone else's fault. Never theirs. Stop trying to be their teacher. Reality is far harsher and far more effective. Silence is the correct response. Interesting. Then disengage. Let consequences educate them. Save your wisdom for those who ask for it. TYPE sex TSQRPON. This is the one that breaks loyal people. You forgive them again and again. They lie, you forgive. They betray, you forgive. They cry, they promise change. They swear this time is different. You want to believe. You want redemption to be real. But patterns are data. Character reveals itself through repetition. When you shield someone from the consequences of betrayal, you are not helping them evolve. You are teaching them that betrayal is survivable, worse, forgivable. Every time you take them back, they lose respect for you. Not because you're kind, but because you don't protect yourself. They interpret mercy as permission. This is where the hardest decision exists. Total severance. No slow fade. No distant friendship. No final explanation. It will hurt deeply. But some attachments are infected. If you don't amputate, the poison spreads. The scorpion cannot be changed, only avoided. Believe behavior, not words. TCE fine L CFTE. Saviwar Gasova IGM. Now you see them. The chaotic, the entitled, the envious, the performative victim, the arrogant, the betrayer. You see them in your life and you feel the weight. Because walking away will make you look cold to people who benefit from your bleeding. You'll be called selfish, heartless, Machiavellian. Good. What they call selfishness, wisdom calls self-preservation. What they call coldness, clarity calls necessity. A savior burns himself to keep others warm. A sovereign builds a lighthouse. He shines but does not drown. Those who want help swim toward the light. Those who want chaos sink on their own. You are not responsible for saving everyone. You are responsible for the vessel carrying your life. When you stop trying to save the unsavable, something changes. Your energy returns, your finances stabilize, your anxiety fades, your health improves. You gain the capacity to help those who earn it. The ones who listen, the ones who grow, the ones who reciprocate. That is real power, not endurance, discernment. And one last truth. When everyone else is gone, when the parasites detach, you'll be left alone with yourself. And you may realize the person you were trying to save all along was a wounded part of you. That shadow remains, but now you finally have the strength to face it. Most never do. That's the point.